So another video, and we're getting so close to Christmas, it's actually crazy. I'm feeling quite in the Christmas spirit with my Christmas jumper, if you couldn't tell. It's quite cute, if I do say so myself. And since we're on the topic of Christmas, I thought we'd do a video about miracles, because Christmas miracles, do they not just mean the same thing? I'm going to begin by defining what is a miracle. The most famous definition of miracles was put forward by David Hume, who was a Scottish philosopher. Hume defined miracles as a transgression of the laws of nature by the volition of the deity or by the interposition of an invisible agent. But this definition is quite flawed, as it leaves miracles being able to be performed by anything that's invisible. So if we think about the supernatural, this leaves miracles open to witches, to ghosts, to vampires, anything that we can't see. Another definition for miracles was put forward by Thomas Aquinas, and he said that miracles were acts that had to be intrinsically wonderful. So not just wonderful for the individual, but it had to have a greater good for everyone. He believed that miracles had to have a cause that was absolutely hidden. So if you could see the cause, then it wasn't a miracle. He believed that miracles could be placed in rank order. First sort of miracle is events done by God that nature could never do. For example, the parting of the Red Sea in Exodus. This sort of miracle goes against the laws of nature, and it's something only God can do. The second rank of miracle is something that nature could do, but not in that order. So, for example, someone being able to see after being blind, or someone living after being dead. So this is a reversal miracle. So it's something that only God can do in that order. And the third sort of miracle is things that God can do, which nature can also do, but God does without using the laws of nature. So he does it against the laws of nature. For example, healing a broken limb in just an instant. It says that God can do as he pleases against nature. Another philosopher who put forward his view is Swinburne, and he believed that miracles had to have a deeper, meaningful purpose. So something that just doesn't really have any meaning at all couldn't be a miracle for Swinburne. He used the example of a feather. So he said if God made a feather land here rather than there, this wouldn't really be described as a miracle because it doesn't have any greater purpose to it. Also, if God decided to disturb a child's toy box just out of spite, this wouldn't be considered a miracle because there's no greater purpose to it. But of course, how can we as humans know what God's purpose is? Which is obviously a flaw of Swinburne's definition. For Holland, another philosopher, he believed that miracles are just random acts which are religiously interpreted. Holland uses the analogy of the train tracks. So, say a mother is standing on a hill and she's watching her child play on the train tracks. All of a sudden, a train comes and the mother can see her child is about to get hit by the train. The driver faints and he pulls the brakes on the train, so the child is unharmed. To the mother this would seem like a miracle, and she would see it as God saved her child. But to everyone else, this would just be seen as a coincidence. People just interpret coincidences to have religious interpretations. Just for the purpose of speeding the video up a bit, I'm just going to write a few more philosophers' views on the screen and move on to the next bit. So the main person we really need to focus on in this topic is David Hume, and he put forward four main criticisms. The first criticism is that there's no sufficient number of educated people to view these miracles. We can use two main examples to criticize this first criticism. Inception. But yeah, if you think about the feeding of the 5,000, which is a biblical miracle, where Jesus fed the 5,000 people who were starving, we can assume that in those 5,000 people there were a sufficient number of intelligent, educated people who viewed the miracle. So this is one way that you can go against that first criticism. Also, if you think about the tomb of Abbey Paris, miracles were proved upon the spot by judges of unquestionable integrity. This means that people that he accepted were educated had viewed these miracles happening. So he can't really criticize this and say that no sufficient number of people have viewed miracles happening. Then again, if Hume is an empiricist and he needs to gain knowledge for his senses anyway, then even if there are a sufficient number of people who have viewed the miracle happening, surely he would have to see it through his own eyes to believe it anyway. The second criticism is that, full of awe and wonder, you force yourself to believe it's a miracle when really it has another explanation. If we cast our minds back to Holland's example before, then we can see for the mother, the baby being saved on the train tracks would be a miracle, or God stopped the train. But for other people it could just be considered a coincidence. So this is sort of what Hume's saying in this. Hume's third criticism was that only barbaric nations believe in miracles. Only people who have no education, no morals would believe in miracles. Hume's fourth criticism is that religion and miracles cancel each other out. So I think the best example of this would be the creation story, which many religions view as a miracle. If you believe in the Big Bang, then you believe that the world came about as a result of a singularity, which then increased and it grew into something more. And this is how the universe was created. So if we look at it in this way, then miracles aren't actually miracles, they're just acts that have a scientific interpretation to it. So instead of miracles being religious, they could actually be scientific. So now we'll go through a few objections of Hume's criticisms. First, Hume sees the laws of nature as something that are prescriptive rather than descriptive. So nature shows us what has already happened rather than what will happen in the future. Second, Hume misses the point of miracles as being revelatory and for a deeper purpose, which is the idea of testimony and credulity. So he misses the point of there being any reason behind miracles, which of course is quite controversial for some religious believers. Another point is that a lot of modern theologians accept that there is a lot of myth in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, but this doesn't mean that we have to reject miracles completely, because after myth has been removed, there is still truth to be found in the miracles. The last objection I'm going to mention is that Hume's idea of the law of nature are outdated. So, for example, if we looked about 200 years ago, the idea that robots exist now would have seemed absolutely ludicrous. The laws of nature are constantly developing and changing, and we're constantly being able to make different things, which we never imagined we'd be able to make. We may come across exceptions to our view of the rules of nature.